As we wind down the semester, we start to get in some of the more advanced applications within the ArcGIS suite of software. This week, we are diving into how to create and model your data in 3D. This is a really useful tool for visualization, although I know some of you are probably curious about why you would ever use 3D modeling or 3D display for your data. Perhaps you just want a more realistic view of the site you're studying. In the lab exercises, we go back to the city of Pittsburgh and we are looking at the city and its topography. Pittsburgh is a very hilly city, so it's helpful to understand the hills and valleys to better, or to understand how people travel and traverse the city. Maybe you are building a ski resort and you want to understand how, one, the best place on the mountain to build a ski resort, and then to understand what the different features of your resort, how they would look on the mountainside itself. Where could you place them to make sure you're getting the best view or that they're visible from highways so people stop to ski. So tonight, or this week, your exercises all focus on, or they revolve around the idea of basic terrain analysis, and then you'll get into some more detailed steps of terrain analysis. If you're interested in things that we're learning this week, again, one, GISG111, where it's a raster-based course, we spent a lot of time thinking about these types of questions. The first thing we'll do tonight is, or do this week in these exercises, is learning how to create data that can be turned into 3D data. So in the lab, you'll be converting vector data into the TIN, or triangulated irregular network data model. So like vector and raster data, TIN is another data model. So how do we create TINs? How do we create surfaces of data? And then how do we actually make them 3D? So we create it from our vector data, then we bring it into ArcScene and we make model our data or visualize our data in 3D. What about with your ski resort example? What if you not only want to understand what the mountain looks like, but understand what it would look like if you actually had your lodge on the mountain, or the chairlifts, or the ski slopes, or any hotels, or even just adding things like trees and rivers to your visualization. There are some great tools for you to do that. So we'll talk about, or you'll learn the different layer properties that you can set to make sure you place your features on your 3D surface, so they're not below the mountainside that you create, or they're not floating above it. So we'll be working with base heights to make sure it's situated appropriately on your TIN. You'll also be thinking about questions like, okay, so we place trees, we place the rivers, and general idea of where the ski slopes will be. But what if I want to, again, create a better visualization and actually show buildings, or what it would look like if my ski lodge was there. So we'll learn how to take the building footprint and the approximate number of stories or floors of the building, and create a 3D rendering, an estimation of what that building would look like. So a lot of fun visualization tools tonight, a lot of cool cartography principles, especially for working with 3D data. We'll also, again, I mentioned at the start of this that you will be looking at some specific terrain analyses tools. So we'll look at line of sight, we'll look at steepest path, and you'll also be creating a topographic profile graph. So if you were to slice that mountain in half, what would the outline of the mountain slopes and valleys look like? All these tools and methods that you're using this week in learning with creating 3D data and displaying 3D data do need more or just different ArcGIS platform applications. Tonight you're working specifically in ArcScene and ArcGlobe. These are two different ways we can display our data in 3D through these applications. ArcScene is where you can take your TIN or your raster data and using the elevation make cool 3D maps of your site. And ArcGlobe allows you to display things kind of similar to how you see Google Earth, display things in that way. or display your data on the globe in a 3D format that way. To use a lot of the tools tonight, you will need to be working with the 3D Analyst extension in ArcMap and ArcScene. So make sure you carefully read the first couple steps of the tutorials, because it will show you how to activate the extension for 3D Analyst. If you are working at home on your home PC, you will only have to activate the extension once. Check the box once, because every time you log back in, it will stay checked. If you are working somewhere on campus, in a computer lab or at the LRC, you will probably have to check the box to turn these extensions on every time you use that computer, just because the settings get reset. So this is a great week to understand some of the basics for working in 3D. I hope you enjoy it, and maybe there's a possibility for some of you for your projects to incorporate 3D analysis or just a 3D visualization of your data into it. As always, if you have any questions, let me know.